Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Rimworld in Alpha 17. So, we're going to be starting a new run, but this one's going to be a special one because we're actually going to be modding the crap out of Rimworld. So, we're going to be adding some new features to the game, some ease of life kind of things as well, but some funny little joke stuff here and there. So, let's have a look at the mods that we want to be playing around with. If you're not interested, I'll leave a timestamp right there, and you can skip to the character creation, or I'll leave a timestamp right there, and that will just skip right to us getting into the game world. Alright, I will now start showing you the mods if you're interested. So, I decided I was going to go a bit crazy with mods. I'll only point out the important ones, really. We do have some library stuff and some prepare carefully things. This is just going to allow me to make the scenario that I want to create anyway. It allows us to properly customize our colonists before, rather than using the random thing until we get what we like. Because I'm going to go for a nice little alternative win con, you might say. It's not actually going to be a win con for us, but it is in spirit anyway. The first win con that we're going to go for is based around the expanded prosthetics and organ engineering. So this adds the ability to craft tons of prostheses and artificial organs in various forms and shapes. So the first win condition that we want to try and achieve, I want to try and make somebody completely bionic. So every single limb and organ should be a bionic limb. We're essentially going to make RoboCop. That is the plan anyway, so expanded prosthetics is going to allow us to get there. That should be a lot of fun. We've then got more vanilla turrets as well. So in the normal vanilla Rimworld, you only have one kind of turret, and then you have mortars as well. More vanilla turrets just adds extra mortars as well that we can play around with. So I think there's like shredder cannons and things like that. They're just going to have lots of different properties, and it's going to be quite fun messing around with them. We then got the medical tab. This is an ease of life mod, essentially. It's just going to make sure that we've got a tab specifically for medical that's going to show us what's wrong with everybody at a given time. We then got quality builder as well. So this is kind of built around the second win condition that I want to implement into the game. I don't expect both of these win conditions to be met, to be honest, because I'm going to be going on the hardest difficulty as well, because I do want some shorter anyway runs, so I expect to be murdered before all this happens. But quality builder allows us to set a minimum quality for anything that we construct that has a quality attached to it. So beds, for example, can be any of these qualities. I'm going to build a room that is the most impressive that you can possibly build. I think it's Wonder of the World it is called, and it's going to be a rec room as well. So we're going to have all of the joy stuff in there. I want it to be a functioning room that is as impressive as it can possibly be, which probably means that the walls are going to be made out of solid gold, that kind of thing. And they're going to contain legendary and masterwork furniture, that kind of thing. We've then got more floors as well. So I did enjoy in the last run trying to make things look pretty, and more floors just adds more floors. As you can see, there's lots of different textures and things like that we can mess around with, so that's what that one's there for. Then we've got an organised research tab. This one, yet again, it's ease of life improvements and works really nicely with the mods as well, because it's going to get cramped on that research tab. We then have colony leadership as well. This one's kind of a fun one. It allows one colonist to become the leader of the colony, and you can either set up a dictatorship or a democracy as well. We're going to probably go for a democracy. So we have a ballot box, and the colonists can vote who's going to be the leader. And the leader has certain abilities as well that he can pass upon onto other people. We then have a doormat mod. Speaks for itself, really. It pretty much reduces the dirt being tracked into a room. So that was always one thing that really bugged me, and this is just going to allow us to make sure that dirt doesn't go into rooms we don't want them in. Stack merger is just something for the colonists. So if you remember that we had a lot of issues, I say issues, with people stacking two things and not filling a stack. Stack merger essentially adds new behavior to the colonists and allows them to merge the stacks into a better version of itself. We then have more furniture. Yet again, this is just going to add to being able to make the room beautiful, and also work towards our win condition of making a really beautiful room as well. We then added Dubs, Hygiene, and Central Heating. This one's going to be interesting. It adds a new need to the colonists for hygiene, essentially, and adds mood debuffs and bonuses for that kind of thing as well. So we got toilets, baths, and that kind of thing. Not sure how this one's going to go. This one's just going to be kind of a fun little thing to add there, but we're going to have bathrooms for our colonists to use, that kind of thing. Just an extra room that's going to be quite fun to work with. We then got a hair mod as well, so I can customize a little bit further. We've added fishing as well. I expect this to be added to Rimworld at some point in the future, but it just adds that extra little bit of function to rivers, which otherwise they are just kind of an annoyance. The fish industry allows us to fish out of the rivers though, which is going to be quite nice. Mod list backup speaks for itself. It's just one of those things that comes with modding. We've got megafauna as well. And megafauna adds 14 new animals to the world that are going to be rare spawns on the map. So these are going to be like Titan level of creatures. We can tame them, we can kill them, that kind of thing. There's woolly mammoths and things like that. It's going to be kind of fun seeing some new fauna populating the world. We then have mass graves as well, because you all know me, I don't really like to make graves. I like to just rush to cremation, but I could probably get behind a mass grave for all of the raiders that come by. So we can just basically build a hole and drop all of the raider corpses into it. Next, we've got more sculptures. This is just a cosmetic thing. It just changes the cosmetics and adds a load of new textures as well to all of the artwork. And yet again, this is going to work with one of our alternative win conditions. We've then got cleaning area. Cleaning area allows us to set a zone, essentially, for cleaning. And it's going to make sure that everybody who's set to cleaning doesn't start cleaning dirt around the outside of our colony, for example. It's going to mean that they clean the rooms that are really important to be cleaned. We don't care about dirt being cleaned, we care about our rooms, so this is just another one of those Ease of Life additions. We then got animal logic as well, so this allows a fair few things. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but we can rename animals without having to go into the files and things like that. We can set beds ownership for certain animals as well, so if an animal is bonded to a certain colonist, I can put a bed in their room and that animal will sleep in the same room as them, that kind of thing. It just makes them a little bit more smarter and adds a lot of new features as well. Then we've got additional joy objects, essentially adding things like arcade cabinets and things like that that are going to bring joy to the colonists as well. Yet again, going really well with our rec room edition of our win condition. Then we've got Wanderer stat. So the Wanderer stat gives you a basic rundown of the Wanderers that turn up at your colony. So in the vanilla version, colonists will just join your colony out of nowhere. This allows you to reject them if they're not good, and it will also give you some traits and their passions to give you an idea of what they're good at, that kind of thing. This is just for the Wanderers though. There are the situations where a colonist will call you up saying that a raider camp is chasing them. I've not added that mod in, and I've not added that in for flavour reasons most of all, because I don't feel like if a colonist is being chased that we have time to interrogate them about what they're good for. So I've excluded that mod, although that one does exist. The Wanderer stat, on the other hand, is somebody who says, I want to join your colony, and you just say, sure, or no, that kind of thing. Gives us a chance to reject them if they're crap and they don't just join. We've then added Pawns Paint. So it seemed a bit weird to me that there is an art stat and nobody can do painting, that kind of thing. This adds the ability to do that. Adds an extra little bit of beauty to any of the rooms where it's included, and that kind of thing. And I think it is also a joy for people with passion for art as well. We've then got a very special secret mod here. I'm not going to spoil that one. That one's just going to turn up out of nowhere. A little bit of fun. We've then got Vein Miner as well. So Vein Miner for me is just sort of a... it's one of those where you see any kind of steel on the map and you want to mine all of it, but you've got to wait until your colonists mine the front row before you have to order them to mine the next row. that kind of thing. It's just time consuming and not at all necessary. Vein Miner allows you to just literally click on one of the steel blocks and it will select all of them for mining. It can be a little bit exploited and cheaty in a way, but I'm not going to exploit it, I promise, because you can click like the rock and it'll show you everywhere that isn't ordered for mining, and that'll show you where the veins are in the rock. I won't be doing that, not intentionally anyway. I'll just be going for those exposed veins or strip mining to find the rest of them. But anyway, that is going to be the mods. Let's go on to creating our scenario. I'll see you there. Alright, so we're just going to go for the basic scenario of Crash Landed, but as I mentioned during the mod breakdown, we're actually going to be going for our own win conditions. So we're going to be trying to turn one of our colonists into Robocop by replacing all of his limbs and anything else that we could possibly change into bionics of that kind. So, and then we're also going to be making a impressive room as well, the most impressive, which I do believe the term is Wonder of the World for the most impressive. So we're going to be having a room with gold walls and as masterworks inside of it, and it's going to be a rec room as well that can be used by our colonists. So that's going to be our win condition for this one. But I'm just going to run with the usual Crash Landed because it's nice and balanced, and it starts us with 3 colonists, which is nice. We're going to go on extreme difficulty, as I mentioned, intense. Turns out it's a little bit too easy for my liking, and it ends up making 70-part long series, which, although it isn't the end of the world if that happens, I kind of find it a little better to do lots of resets. So extreme is going to get me killed more often, is essentially my rundown of that. And we're going to go with classic as well, because I don't really want to throw Randy in there on top of extreme. We'll see. But Cassandra is usually my go-to. As for the random seed, there's our random seed. And we're just going to go for the overall temperature and rainfall, and we're just going to pick where we want to go. Global coverage really doesn't matter for us because we're not going to be going for the travelling wind condition, nor are we going to be travelling 100% of the map's coverage, so we're just going to leave that at 30 and generate our world. As for where we're going to settle though, I'm not entirely sure. I'm thinking either one of the temperature extremes, not the very extreme, like the ice sheets or anything like that, but somewhere that's quite hot, but also within trade points. So I mean, like this spot right here would be awesome. What's the average temperature on this place? Summer temperature of 32. It's got a year-round growing period though, which I'm not entirely happy with. I'd like some sort of period of time where it stops growing. There we go. There's like 50 days in this area here. I'm going to build it across a large river. I do like including the rivers since they're actually going to be quite useful to us as far as flavour's concerned with our mods. Then again, there aren't many raider factions around, but I'm sure that we're still going to get attacked by things fairly frequently. It's got its usual 3 friendly, 2 hostile kind of things, and we could even turn that tribe into a friendly one given time if we release their guys often enough. Alright, so I think we're going to settle here. So we've got flat terrain, which is going to make it difficult to mine on. That is going to be problematic. We've got stone road running through it as well, so easy travel, and a large river to fish through. It's got slate, limestone and sandstone, and the average temperature is not really much of a problem. In fact, it's got a year-round growing period, which is what I was trying to avoid. Apparently, as soon as you go here, you lose that, so maybe we will repick a spot. Maybe somewhere over here then. Yeah, 50 days. We've got small hills. It's on a river, so we can make good use of that mod. Animals can graze now. They absolutely can. And we've got a colony we can trade with and a tribe that we can trade with as well, and it's near the road for easy travel. I think this is where we're going to go then. Yeah, we'll settle here. It's nicely on the ocean as well. And I'm gathering we have our usual factions. Alright, so we're going to create our characters. I'm going to go with prepare carefully, which is going to allow me to mess around with a lot of stuff. We're going to make some very specific characters, and I'm going to cut and start making these after some of our patrons, so back in a second. Alright, so we have finished with our character creation. So I've used a point limit, which allows me to essentially restrict myself to a certain amount of points. I can make essentially a balanced starting 3 people. So the first person we've got is Hunter Brown. He is a disaster survivor turned hunter. So his old village was unfortunately burnt to the ground as it was raided by raiders, and then he essentially had to go into the forest to live out, and in his adulthood he was essentially the hunter for his new tribe. So with the disaster itself, he did manage to get himself a scratch scar, and also, you know, he's a bit depressive because of course everybody he knew and loved in his childhood is now gone, but he does very much care, which makes him kind, and hunting has made him a careful shooter. So he's essentially our hunter for the group. He's got a nice little passion for combat, essentially. Being a hunter and living in the forest as well has given him a fair bit of construction skills and the just nice little balanced survival skills as it stands. We've then got Paul Gosling. So Paul Gosling is actually a guy from another planet as well from the rest of them. He just managed to turn up on the same ship that ended up crashing. In his early years, he was an energetic pop idol, but he decided to give all of that away to become a VR designer. Really wanted to pursue the arts. So that's made him a bit industrious, but being such an artist, he is very greedy and he wants the very best. So his room must be the greatest of all of them, as he is the artist. And that means that his room should be beautiful. So as he is the only one to actually come from a different planet as well, he has been in a cryptosleep for quite some time, so he's going to be entering with a bit of cryptosleep sickness. So if we look at him, he's not a very special guy as it stands. You know, all he really had going for him in his childhood was his art, so therefore has his passion for his art. And, you know, he likes anything that is beautiful, so he has a nice passion for growing as well. He likes to see plants and other beautiful things like that. Just a reasonably balanced person who doesn't do any dumb labour, because he was a pop idol and had everybody do it for him. Finally, we have Miller, Justin Miller, the tender. Yet again, this was Miller. He's very young as well. He was a child star. He's just pretty much come away from that. But he decided to give all of that away to go into the wilderness and become a cave tender. So he's essentially looking after a tribe of people with very little, essentially. So that's made him quite ascetic. He's been living in a cave for quite some time, so he doesn't really care for any kind of, any kind of impressiveness in his room. He's happy just living in a cave. The child star in him, though, has made him a little bit neurotic as well, so he likes to have things his way, and if he doesn't, he's going to break a lot easier. And like all child stars, he has to be beautiful for the television to take on, so yes, he is exceptionally beautiful, which is going to work very well for him, so that he can get his way around the new colony that he's going to be in there. So as a tender, he likes to care for other people as well, so he's got quite a good medicine stat, and he is going to be the chef for the colony as well as the crafter as well. If you live in a cave, you learn to craft things out of very little, so he's going to have those skills as well. And obviously, he mined out the cave himself, so he is very much a decent miner. Alright, that's going to be it for our colony, so I will see you guys in the world. Alright, the three of you awake in your cryptosleep sarcophagi to the sound of sirens and ripping metal. You barely get to the escape pods before the ship is torn apart. Sometime later you land on an unknown Rimworld. As pieces of the shredded starship fall around you, you start making plans to survive. So, what kind of government are we going to go with? We can have a democracy or we can have a dictatorship, and I can decide who wants to be the leader. We're going to go with a democracy, because I think it'd be quite fun to set up a ballot box and see who wants to be in charge at all times. So, let's go. Okay, first things first. Ooh, we've actually got a warg with us. Nadeza, or however you pronounce that. It's going to be fun trying to pronounce. Repeatedly wrong. So let's do the usual Rimworld thing of unrestricting all of our materials. There's a bit of wood there. Looks like this place is a bit of barren wasteland, actually. This is going to be interesting. So we've not really got much of a wall to build off on, except for this one here. So this actually might be where we build. We've got some steam geysers not too far off. We might actually build a wall down here and build along here, and this could be our colony right here. We've got some steel to work with there. Some steel down to the south, and it looks like a fair bit of compacted machinery here and about there. So I think this central spot seems very obvious for us. We've got some spectago. Ooh, what is this? One of the few known breeds of photochromic flowers. Each petal of the spectago plant changes colour throughout the month. The petals are used by many tribal settlements to make dyes as well as tea. Ooh, very nice. It's got a limited lifespan as well, so we might want to grab that soon. Right, as far as our fishing zones as well, we could set up a fishing spot there. That's just rough marble, so we've got nothing to do there. And we've got a nice bit of rich soil as well, which is going to really help since we've got a limited time to grow all of our stuff. So, first things first, let's just make ourselves a really quick shack for everybody to live in. So, just build something like that. Get a door on it, and then we'll order everybody to chop down the trees around it to build it. Alright. We also want to get everybody equipped as well. Hunter is our best shot, so he's going to get the hunting rifle. Second person is Miller with 7 shooting, so he gets the pistol. And Gosling, not very good at any kind of combat, but he can have the knife, which should do him just fine. Okay. Once we've built that as well, we should probably set up a stockpile zone as well, just to get everything into one spot. It's only going to be temporary. And we're probably going to move some stuff later down the line into some indoor areas to keep it nice and good. Right, we'll go with some sleeping spots off the bat, because we want to build some bedrooms for these guys. One of them's greedy and probably wants his own room. And maybe we'll set up some mining jobs as well. For right now, don't really need the steel or the components. So I'm just really into getting this building ready to go, so they've got a roof underneath them for the time to come. Alright, we got some lovely vomit there from Gosling, still suffering from his crypto sleep, so he's going to be throwing up a fair bit, as well as Hunter as well. Apparently Hunter's not in a great spot right now. But there you go. Right, now that that's chopped, we should also get an animal sleeping spot as well for our warg. Very happy to have a warg as well, because we did set that to random. Alright, so the plan is going to be for us to effectively build a wall down here in order to block that area off. And then it's probably going to come across here as well. Try to include that rich soil. Something along there, and then we'll block this off so they can't get in. And it looks like we're going to want to go wall up like this. So this is only going to be temporary, so we'll be deconstructing this eventually, I'd imagine. And where do we want to cut this bit off? I guess we want to include a little bit of the water in here. I'm not sure, can we build on the mud? We can't, but we can get in here by the looks of things. So the plan is to probably build a wall up this way. Ooh, we might have some problems here. Let me see where. We can build there. Just let me check that's right. Cool. So that plan. Let's see. Yeah, we can build all the way along there. Just checking. I don't want to make plans and find out that they're not decent plans. This is a decent wall, I will say. We'll build it probably like that. And remove that bit of plan there. And that's going to be what our wall looks like. It's going to be quite the task, I do not disagree, but we can go with this wall first, which will block off the left-hand side, and then we'll try go for this one, which means they'll have to come down south. I'm not sure where our kill box is going to be just yet. It might be down here where it's just already open and easy to mine out anyway. That might be where we want to go for that kind of thing. I don't want to focus too much on a kill box that just murders everything without any effort whatsoever. So I do want to set up probably similar to our usual kill boxes, which do alright, but less focus on funneling and murdering. Right, so we've got our normal room set up. So while that is underway, where do we want to build our rooms? I do want to set some steel mining as well, so we can use our new, should I say, vein mining tool. So the vein mining tool allows us just to click a little bit of steel, and it will mine out all of the steel available to us. And it looks like there's 3 bits here as well, so we'll order that to be mined. Could do with the priorities getting set as well. So we'll go manual first and foremost. Let me just unselect everybody, every stat, copy, paste, paste. Okay, so it looks like we've only got one person who's capable of plant cutting, hauling and cleaning, so we're going to have to set that up to be done. Hunter's the only one capable of doing it. It's going to be a little bit of an issue if we are hunting for food, because he's going to be the only one who can clean up, and we do want a beautiful, beautiful area at some point. So, hunting, if I set it, is going to be priority number 1 for Hunter. And then he'll do all of these things. I think we'll set cleaning to a 2, because it doesn't really matter what I set that to, because as long as I don't set research to a 1, cleaning doesn't matter what its priority is. So Hunter's going to be the manual labourer around here by the looks of things. As usual, we want firefighting all on 1, patient on 1 for these guys, and I think we'll just set Miller as the doctor for now, which is going to mean that he has priority 2 on doctoring, and then these guys get priority 1 on bed rest. For now, I think I will set 4 for these guys, just because, actually, maybe not you, because we get the horrible zit sound which says, do not do this. We'll set that right there. And then we want to do wardening of 2. As much as I want to tend to the ward to any prisoners that we have over Miller's health, I don't think it's probably a good idea, especially in this situation. Handling I'll leave alone, because I have no plans to handle just yet. And then our best cook is going to be Miller. So once he's done all of the wardening and things like that, he's going to go and hunt. And we'll set him as a 4 hunter, actually, just so that if he's got nothing better to do, he can go out and hunt things. And we'll leave probably just Gosling as the grower for now. As far as construction's concerned, we want to make sure that our best constructors are on the job. We do eventually want a nice little situation where the best constructor's doing the job, but for now it looks like we're going to have to balance all of this out. So we'll set 1, 2 and 3 like so. Let's go 1 for growing. Art is his passion, Gosling's passion, but it's not a priority for us just yet. We want to get set up on our base, so I'm going to leave that as a priority 4. And then mining, I think we'll put you on 3 for mining, and 4 there for Gosling as well, if he's got nothing better to do for now. Smithing, tailoring and art and crafting we'll leave well alone. Crafting and things like that is fine. So the question is, do I want anybody on 4 for anything? You're on 5, you're on 7. I guess I'll put you on 4 for cooking, just so that somebody else could do the job if they've got nothing else to do. And 4 for growing. I suppose I'll put you on that as well. Alright, that's going to do that for the stats. We'll change them as we go if we need to. As for the walls, I would really like to start building things out of stone immediately, so maybe we'll actually rush a stone cutter's table while we've still got a nice room here in order to, you know, house these people while we wait. We'll just build a stone cutter stuff, and we'll build all of the bedrooms and things like that out of stone rather than building them out of wood, which is quicker to build them out of wood, and you know, the resources are readily available. but it's not something I want in the long term. So what is the most frequent stone type here? It looks like limestone is what we have a lot of. So once they build the stonecutters table, I'm going to tell them to make all of our buildings out of limestone. And we're going to start building... Oops. We've got to wait until we have limestone first before we can get that done. Oh, we also need to make ourselves a growing zone as well. Very important that we have lots of food being grown. So let's set up a nice big patch of potatoes. And then we'll have a slightly smaller patch right there. We'll have that be heel root. And then we'll have another growing zone here of slightly slower growing but higher yielding, better yielding corn. And then a smaller patch of... what should we have? Let's produce too much food for now, and then we'll knock it back as and when we need to. Alright, stone cutting table's done. We're going to ask them to make some limestone blocks until we have, let's say, 110. And then unpause when we get to 30, I suppose. Any construction skill is completely fine for us right now. That is actually going to be something that we're going to have to set people to do, I believe. Yeah, we're going to have to set somebody to crafting in order to get this done. So, Miller, for now I'm going to set you as a priority 1 crafter so that you start generating us some limestone to build with. I really do want to get all of our buildings up and ready to go as quickly as possible. And now there is a stack. We can go with the limestone stuff and we can start building our rooms. I'm going to build away from the rich soil just so that we can make the most of it. As for room size, I'm not sure. I think 7 by 7 should be just fine. Or is that a little small? Is that a little small, or should we go 8 by 8? I think that'll be fine. It's not the most spacious. Actually, you know what? Screw it. It isn't the most spacious, so we're going to not do that. Let's expand it a little bit. That's going to make uneven sides. Alright, well, I'm going to have to... Oops, I don't want to do that. Going to have to make the door slightly off center as well, just to make sure that that is fine. So we've decided with 8 by 8. Let's do 8 by 8s. It's going to be a lot of limestone. But it's going to make some nice rooms for us. Get the doors in there. Done that the wrong way. There we go. And then we'll let them build those structures. We do need to get ourselves a kitchen as well, but right now we currently don't have any vegetables of any sort, so it's not so important to us right now. Should be having somebody on growing right now though, and we haven't. We've got Gosling set to constructing, that'll be why. Okay, so Gosling, set the growing first and foremost, please. I want that going before our food runs out, essentially. We are going to have to hunt before long, I'd imagine, as well, because that food's not going to last. I'm almost certain of it. Hunter is essentially organising all of our materials as well. I'm very happy to see that happening. And once Gosling's done with all of the growing, then he'll go back to the building, which is good for us. Minor break on Gosling. What's up, buddy? I mean, there's not really much we can do. Greedy for an impressive bedroom. Yeah. No surprise there. We could do with getting some defences up pretty soon as well. Having a nice power source into our turrets. Just have one turret to defend ourselves with. Might be a good idea. We also have a hygiene set as well, so we might have to set up a toilet or something like that. I've currently got a latrine and a wash bucket, so I tell you what, latrine, we don't want a quality set on that right now. Let's remove the quality set for the latrine. It's not really a permanent feature for us right now. And then a wash bucket. And we'll give them some privacy as well by building a bathroom. Let's go like that and set a door there. Do we have torches as well? Let's get a torch lamp in there. That should be fine. Alright. Not bad. Not bad at all. Let's expand out our inventory so we can keep track of it. We've got 36 meals. Not going to last us very long, so maybe we do want to start hunting and cooking. Oh. Our warg's going to feed himself as well. Or is it herself? It's herself. Our warg's going to feed herself for quite some time, which is nice. I might order those trees right there to be chopped down just so that our farmer isn't doing it. Or all of it, at least. Because he's going to need to. And Miller's getting on the construction now. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll set all of the rest of this building to be forbode for the time being. Just so that we're focusing on finishing off one room at a time. Because Gosling's going to be whining about not having a more impressive bedroom than everybody else. So being able to set that up is going to be great. We've also forgot our dumping stockpile as well. So let's go dumping stockpile there. And we're also going to have a mass grave for the time being for any raiders that come by. So let's just put the mass grave over here for now. And somebody will go build that, I'd imagine. Doesn't take any materials, so that should be good. Alright. Looking very productive. Do we have any wild heal root ready to grab? Doesn't look like it. We've got a fair bit of steel there, actually. I'm going to order that to be grabbed. And we do have some raspberry bushes that we can grab as well. So we do have some wild food ready to go. Major break for Hunter. Awful barrack. Ugly environment. Grimy. Feels grimy. Well, why don't you work on the wash bucket then? There you go. And I'll get you to work on the latrine and the rest of it as well. We are going to need this sorted out. Otherwise we're going to have some mental breaks on our hands. There we go. And you know what, for the time being, as a temporary solution as well, we're going to get some floor in there. Let's just, we've got new floors, if you hadn't noticed. And we have more floors as well there. We'll just set up a normal, cheap wood floor, I think. Which is the generic one for now. Just to get rid of that awful aspect to the room. It is very dirty, so the floor should help us keep some of the impressiveness going. We've got plenty of wood as it is. And hopefully these rooms get done in time before a mental break comes along and we get very upset. What's the beauty on these plants? 24. Nice. Alright. I don't really want to focus too much on this room though, because it is, as I mentioned, very temporary. So that would be not in our best interests if we're planning on rushing certain things. We also do need to set up a ballot box as well, so we can organise an election. But I think... No, we'll do that now. I think it's in MISC. It's not in MISC. Is it in production? It is not in production. It's in leadership. Of course it's in leadership. Elections will take place around this box. Build it in a safe, preferably indoor spot. Let's put it in the corner over here. And we won't set any quality to be built on that. Anything is fine for us. Nice. It's looking a little bit better. What do they think? Impressiveness, awful. Somewhat poor, average sized, ugly, very dirty. No. What can I say? I'm just going to wait before we set up cleaning zones and stuff like that, because we haven't actually finalised where half of our buildings are going to go. Because I think this building is actually going to eventually be converted into our kitchen area and things like that. For the time being, though, we've almost finished on this room. Nice. Set that to hall. Set all of that wood to be chopped. And cut those as well. That is a bush that is almost ready to be harvested, but it will not survive, I don't think, once we roof up this area. Alright. Hunter does have the mental break first, though. Being depressive, it is going to be a little bit of an issue, so maybe he gets the first bedroom. Despite Gosling having greedy for impressive bedroom, he has depressive, which is something that we're going to have to fix. Alright, well I think actually that is where we're going to end off the episode anyway, guys. So if you did enjoy the content and you want to see more, then be sure to leave a like and subscribe as well. And don't forget to hit that little bell icon right next to the subscription button, and you'll get notifications when I release new videos. I do hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.